like there's a lot of errors in those videos. There's a lot of like out of focus stuff, or they have to rack back in, or it's a little wobbly.
Shafiq catching some strays.
No. I'm not thinking about it. All right, guys, welcome to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. I'm with E. This is the podcast for sports videographers. How you doing, E?
Doing good. But happy to be back. Missed you last week, or you missed me. But
I did miss you.
Wasn't there. Sorry.
It's okay. Shit happens. I did miss you. Actually, it was kind of a little nerve-wracking. It was the first time I ever did like a solo talking head thing. I've done stuff on LinkedIn and that, but they're mostly like client clips and that. But it was the first time that I actually sat down and did like an episode or a YouTube. I've talked about doing a YouTube channel that I've never done before. So it kind of got me out of my comfort zone. So at the end of the day, you helped me more than you actually realize by being busy, because it got me out of that, being scared to talk to camera all alone, even though I do it quite often, but I have you, right? So it's a lot different when I'm talking to you than just talking to the camera. I don't know how you do it, but I don't know.
It was all part of my plan. Little grasshopper. It was like my master, it was my last test to see if you were ready.
I don't know if I was ready or not. We'll have to check the podcast numbers to see, but I don't think it's going to be a highly rated episode, but whatever.
Told you off there. I liked it. Was very informative. Like all the rambling and fluff that I bring to the show wasn't there. So it was like bang, 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 information, value. I liked it.
Well, I was kind of crunched for time. I was like, I got to get this shit done now. And boom, I did it. So anyway, on to the next episode. Today we want to actually talk about is how to actually deliver videos fast. It's something that as a sports videographer, especially in the world of sports, everybody wants everything right away. So we want to give you guys some tips, some tricks on how to actually achieve that, because clients are very happy. The faster you give them the footage, the shots, the edit, anything you can give them as soon as possible, they really, really appreciate it. All right. So next up, before we start, we finished our usual beat. Scouting report. This is the section where we talk about new gear, new trends, new software, whatever we see going on. So what do you got up on the agenda for today, E?
Well, I haven't really touched any new gear per se, but I saw a couple of rumors. The first one was the Canon R5 Mark II, I believe, or Mark III, but I think it's Mark II, which is the rumor is that it's going to do 8K at 120 frames per second, which sounds amazing if it is true. But we all know that those camera rumors rarely are, to be honest. It's probably going to be one of the two. Like, there's probably going to be 8K, but not at 120. And that would be okay too. But yeah, if it is true, it would be fun. Definitely a game changer as long as it works, because usually the first version of these things is not the greatest. Like, let's say for argument's sake that it does 8K 420, 8K 120. It will probably be, just short bursts of like recording at 5-10 seconds at a time. Otherwise, overheating would take over, and that would be it for you. So like, sports probably not the best option, but if the camera can hold up at 8K 60, for example, that would be great. Allows you to really, everyone who likes to have just like a wide shot and then punch in post. If you're editing for Instagram or for something in 1080, to be able to film at 8K 60 and then allowing you to zoom in almost as much as you want in post would be very interesting. So yeah, I'd be curious to see that. And the second rumor, you actually brought it up, so I'll let you talk about it. Like, what was it? Was it the FX3 you said?
Yeah, so Sony patented 3 new cameras. So one is the AR5 or something, Mark II, AR5 Mark II, and the FX3 too. Supposedly it's in the works. It's talking about releasing at the end of the year. Sony's supposed to have an announcement this summer about it. But there's so many rumors swirling around, right? The FX3 is like, what do we really want in it? People want 8K. They want open gate. But like you just said with these cameras, what's really realistic in these bodies? Like, what's the codec going to be like? First of all, if you're shooting 8K open raw, what's the battery life going to be? What's the file size going to be? So that's something us as sports videographers have to think of too. Like, it might sound great to have this 8K camera, but have you seen the price of hard drives lately? So like having all these extra, files and these heavier files and that, it's going to become very, very expensive fast to become a sports videographer, or at least keeping all your footage. So we'll see. But I mean, Sony is ready to do it. And I think the timing is good because I mean, the camera's 4 years old now. A7S III is coming on 6 years old, and they're basically the same camera. So, I mean, it's time for the upgrade. You and I both have FX3s. For me, my workflow, I don't really need to upgrade that camera. I feel like that's my workhorse camera. I know I can let that thing record all day at any of the specs, and I don't have to worry about overheating. So I'll have to really see what upgrades the FX3 really has in that. But it's funny because everyone's been talking about it on YouTube, like even Matty Hapoya the other day, he had a whole thing of what's really going to be in the FX3. And these guys all kind of have a heartbeat with Sony, right? Like Sony reaches out to them, test cameras and that. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys are actually testing out the FX3 Mark II. And even with the A7 V, the camera that we both bought and are really happy with, a lot of guys tested that camera for a long time and they kind of gave slower and more updates as they went, because that camera was ready a year ago and it only came out about 6 months ago. So Sony is being very, very cautious when they release cameras because they want to hit a home run with the FX3 Mark II. So, I mean, who knows what it's going to have. For me on my scouting report, I want to talk about two things. First of all, I want to talk about some clickbait that I'm always seeing online.
This is beyond the game?
No. AI is going to replace us as video editors. Okay, that's the first thing. So if I go on my YouTube right now, I'm looking, Claude is my video editor now. Claude can do this. Claude can do that. Listen, Claude has a hard time remembering all the information I tell it to write an email. So I don't think it's going to be replacing our video editing as much as they say it's going to be. There's a lot of prompting. There's a lot of stuff. There are some cool stuff, though, software out there that edits A-roll. And the idea is you kind of export the text, you run the text scripts into this software. It could then, with time code, cut up your A-roll. So that's something that, yes, can speed up your workflow and that. But to add the creativity and stuff that you guys have out there, Claude is not going to be able to do that. So I'm just laughing because every time I go on my YouTube, it's like, Claude is my new video editor. This is my new video editor. And you see this guy and he's showing you this super simple timeline with like basically he just recorded 2 cameras on time code that I could do in multicam edit on my own, no problem, So I just want to talk about that clickbait all the time. And the second thing I want to talk about, something that I've been noticing is, so we put together a lot of nice, hype reels, nice edits, some nice footage, and we work hard on color grading and all that. And I'm starting to notice that we don't need that. So the reason why I'm saying that is it seems like sometimes the raw videos, instead of showing your work, it seems like the trend is showing you working. And I just did one recently just for the hell of it, just to kind of show like what I film, getting the first big shot that I filmed before a hockey game of all the players skating up onto me. And that video did way better than any nice video that I did and put some effort into it. And I put zero effort into this. Like I literally put a Pocket 3 camera on top of my camera and press record when I went on the ice and got the shot. So it seems like some people are, maybe because of the AI revolution or, there's so many nice polished videos on Instagram and all that, like most people are using now as like a portfolio, that sometimes the raw videos of you just talking, showing what you're doing, showing the actual, event that you're at, they seem to do pretty good sometimes. So I feel like when you're posting stuff in that, it's important to maybe mix it up, show your work, but show yourself working too, because showing yourself working seems to be very, very important. People really want to see that proof that you're there, that you're, actually working these events and that, because nowadays I can grab footage from anywhere and re-edit it. Or there's this whole thing that pops up in my algorithm is where these photographers were taking pictures of a Justin Bieber concert, but they weren't at the concert. It was just on TV, and they were posting it and acting like they were on the actual at the actual event. And people are like, this isn't photography, you know, because it's true. You're not getting the angles. You're just taking a picture of someone's video angle. So this whole thing of showing myself at the event, showing myself working, in this day and age, people want to see that, and it's somewhat important. And it's something that I'm going to be working on too, because it's something that I never do. I never do it because I don't have the time. Like during a hockey game, I'm filming the game, I'm doing all this stuff. But it's like I got to start making a conscious effort to kind of show that I'm in the venue, I'm there. So when I did my little video, like I walked through the locker room, I walked outside, I walked to the ice, and then I showed like the shot. The only other thing I could have done was maybe have a camera facing at me to show me on the ice filming it. I showed an overhead shot where you saw me. But it's like people really want to see you working. So yeah, it's just something I thought I'd bring up. No new tech. I didn't want to, I'm always talking DJI. So I figured I'd change it up this time. But yeah, that's something that I've noticed, at least in my algorithm, is like, instead of just always showing your work, show yourself working.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I think it's also originally like, the polished stuff was on TV, and then the internet was a bit more for the raw sort of, what doesn't make it on TV ends up on the internet. And I think now there's a lot more polished stuff on Instagram and all these other platforms. So to when you give people something that feels more raw, more real, more genuine, sort of in the moment type of thing, that's the reason they're there in the first place. So they always appreciate it and are more curious about it than, the more polished, produced type of content. And I think that when it's too polished and stuff, it also feels a bit more like an ad. Like when I see like a full like produced video, I almost assume that it's going to be selling me something. Where when I see something a bit more raw, a bit more normal, I feel like I assume that it might be just like something that one of my friends posted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what? Like working for the pro sports team, you don't always know what you can and cannot share. But it seems like if you're just showing yourself, then you're pretty safe. As long as you establish and you put the camera in that, you're pretty good. Because there is like a fine line of what you can share and what you cannot share. Because every team has like these NDAs you sign or like no filming zones or if you're around the team, you can't really show what they're doing in that. So you got to be careful with that. But I think if you're showing just yourself and showing yourself doing your craft, you're pretty safe. So it's something to actually add to your toolbox. I think it's important. And especially if someone, a recruiter or an athlete wants to see your work in that, and he actually sees you at a big event and sees you filming the event, it kind of, it's like a digital CV, I feel.
Good point.
Yeah. All right. So on to the main conversation. So fast delivery. The reason why I talk about this is like, you've been filming hockey, you've been working PWHL games, I got NHL games and that. They expect, especially in playoffs that we're still in right now, they want the clips right away. They want the goals right away. They want that stuff for social as soon as possible. They want, game trailers, teasers, the day before games and that. So if you're working these events, you do not have a lot of time at all. So we'll just start first off. The first thing I have on my list is, what is the real turnaround expectations? Because a lot of people, who go and film high school sports or college sports and that, say if you're filming football, you have a week in between. You could give some quick clips and that. But right now when it's playoffs and you're playing every second day, what are the real expectations for turnaround?
Well, it depends on the type of package, depends on the team. It depends mostly on their social media sort of strategy, like how are they posting during the game? Are they expecting to post like goals? And if they do, like, are they goals that people like you and I are filming, or are they just like ripping the broadcast feed, things like that? But yeah, I think in this day and age, like if you look at the professional leagues, the major ones, typically those goals come out pretty fast. So that I'd say like the fastest thing that you have to get out like is a goal when it happens, or a touchdown or whatever. So from that perspective, like, yeah, there is kind of like I know when I was filming at a PWHL, like we're all on a group chat, and as soon as someone scores, it's like, all right, I got it. I didn't, like, because not obviously like there could be like a ref in your way, or you just weren't recording, whatever. So whoever has it will let people know, and then it's kind of your responsibility to upload it as quickly as possible. Technically, we're supposed to do it in between periods, but I found actually, like, because I think it was Pete Gottschalk who was telling us when he was on the show how he works, like he uses like a little card reader that he connects to his phone and then uploads it to the platform that they have for MLB. So I figured, like, you know what, like if there's a way to do something like that, it would be way faster than me trying to, get into my computer, and because I'm usually in the crowd and stuff, so like using my laptop is a bit of a problem, and then when I'm doing that, I'm not filming. But if I wait for the intermission, then everybody's on their phone, and then the internet sucks. So it's like, when's the best time to upload content like this? So I decided, because I figured, like, I got a USB-C connector on my phone now since I upgraded to the iPhone 17. So I was like, let's try this. And I connected this thing, the card reader that I never use because there's a card slot on my computer anyway. And yeah, once you're on this thing, like, you can basically upload to any sort of, file sharing platform like a Google Drive or a Dropbox. And in the case of the PWHL, they're using frame.io. So I just downloaded the frame.io app, and going in there to upload something in the right folder, you can browse. And then when I browse, my SD card becomes an option. And I just go in the SD card, pick the clip, upload straight from my phone. I don't have to, take my laptop out and do all that stuff. It's way faster, way more convenient, because while it's uploading, I can just have it in my pocket or, on the floor next to me. So yeah, that's a way to like really speed up the game day. And to be clear, like, there was someone that was there editing, so like they're kind of waiting on us to just send footage, and so I would just send a raw clip really quickly, and they take care of putting it in a 9:16 format, coloring it, and then just sending it to the socials person. But technically, I think you could also edit in CapCut on your phone, for example, like just during the game. But my role was more to film than to edit. But yeah, in terms of like game day, quick type of stuff, I found like using the phone to deliver content was a way better option than having my laptop out, unless you're in a spot where you're kind of by yourself and your laptop's next to you, and you can have like a little, almost like a little studio going. Like, I think the phone is definitely a tool that is underused at the moment.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. I never thought about actually using my dongle into my phone, because I usually see they have the straight USB-C to card reader. But yeah, you can use your dongle and you can hook up whatever. There's also like the motion control app, the Sony app, right? Where you can view your clips that are on your SD card net, and there's a way you can transfer them to your phone also wirelessly. The only issue is I think it compresses it a bit, so it might be a little harder, and then you're stuck on download times, right? Where when you put in the SD card, like the way you did, it's instant. So that's a way smarter way. And it is really, really, really fast. So what I see, like in the playoff games, I'm beside, like where I am right now, I have two camera guys beside me, photographers. Now I'm doing broadcast, so I'm lucky. They get my stuff instantly right away. What they do, if I get a highlight, they clip it right away, and through our server, we send it to the social team. So it's very, very simple, and that's how all pro sports teams are. They have like an EVS system, which is a replay system where you can do slow motion and all that. But they also clip it from there, and then there's a shared folder on it where the social team can go in and get any goal from any angle instantly. So that's very easy for the broadcast. But the photographers, they are uploading pictures on whistles. They're uploading it at intermission and all that. But them too, they have two systems. Some guys are working on a team that have a photo editor up top. So they're just uploading during the game, all the time, constantly, and the editor's just editing and posting what he wants. The other guys that are on their own, well, at intermission, they're taking that card out, they're putting it in their computer, and they're actually editing all those photos right then and there at intermission and sending them off. It's still very, very fast, because, a hockey period is 20 minutes. So even if you took a couple shots like halfway through the period, well, 15 minutes later, they're out there. But for video clips and that, they want them as fast as possible. So for us, the easiest thing to do if you want to show goal instantly is to grab the broadcast feed. And like, you know, if you have secondary shooters and all that, well, then they usually get uploaded at intermission.
What about the more produced kind of content? Like, what's your strategy around that? Like, where if you have to like actually edit something?
Yeah. So honestly, the strategy is keep it simple, keep the edit simple, have an idea going in, like, you know, if you're having a song or whatever. But I think if you want to be as fast as possible, especially in playoffs, you want to try to use some raw audio. So the idea is to go locker room after, get the players' sound bites and all that, and then match up whatever happened in the game with those sound bites. And I think that's the fastest and easiest way, especially because you're trying for raw emotion, right? So like, it's funny. I was just at the game and my buddy Shafiq, who's been on the show, he was sitting beside me, you know, the Habs, and he had to run to the locker room after, and then he had to do like a little edit right after the game. And yeah, that's kind of what he was doing because it's fast, it's simple, and you got to deliver right away. Like people are expecting that video that night. So you don't have that much time. So you got to make sure, you know, and even them, they're not even shooting with a log profile. They're just shooting with like a S Cine and that because their colors are pretty good. You know, they know the arena, they know the lights and that. They just have to adjust some minor adjustments in that, but it's all about speed. So have a game plan, you know, and I mean, for playoffs or for quick clips and that raw emotion of an athlete talking or a press conference and all that, because you have access to all that, make mental notes while you're going of what you want to do and lay out that quick little story. Because it's tough. It's tough to, you know, you're on the high of the team too. You're part of that team. They win. You're excited. Then you got to run upstairs and you got to get this out as fast as possible. So you have to have a quick idea. And, what a lot of teams do too is that's when they'll post those nice highlight goals like you have, you know, like a game winner. They could do like a quick little tagline, you know, some animated text and saying like, hey, this is the game winning goal, or game 2 we won, and you show like the biggest moments of it and you go and put it to the beat. But having just like crowd reactions, crowd noises, a quick little soundbite, boom, that's all you need. That way you're not worried about music. You're not worried about looking for the right song or anything like that. It's just a quick, straight edit, a little behind the scenes, and here you go as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, I think for those, yeah, that definitely. And I think also, like, it doesn't need to be long. Like, that edit from Shafiq, I'm pretty sure, like, I saw one that made the rounds, and I'm pretty sure it's that one. Like, it's in the locker room, and you see the coach's speech and play of the game and all that sort of stuff. And I think like that's what people want to see. They don't necessarily need like a produced cinematic, like right after the game. Like it's not what they're after. They just want, like, for that particular piece, it's like it's actually in the locker room with the players right after they just clinched the first round of the playoff. Like that's what people like. They'd much rather be in the inner sanctum of the players' locker room and see what the coach is actually saying to the players and how the players are celebrating and interacting with each other. They'd much rather see that than to see a press conference. So by just putting a couple speeches from the captain, from the coach together in the locker room, people enjoying themselves, boom, bang, bang, export it, send it, that will do way better than any press conference quote from any of the big the big media covering the team. So that's definitely the way to go when you're in a hurry after the game. And then for the more cinematic sort of, game recap, there's no point. If you're trying to post something right after, I would do it more as a teaser. Like, so basically have your little music ready that's like 20 seconds. Just put shots on your timeline to fill it. You can even start like, during the intermissions, basically, or during halftime, like you do the first part of the video, you start building it, and you just leave a space to whatever happens in the rest of the game so that it's out. But like it would be more of a teaser type of feel, just so that people have something, and then work on the bigger piece for the next day or for a couple of days later that is actually properly kind of produced with effects and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it comes down to preparation. Like if you got your music ready, you know how long it's going to be, you know what direction you're going to take, and you can start working on it during the game because you know exactly which shot, like what you're going to do with it, and you know what's fluff, what's necessary. You can even do the whole, marking your clip, even if it's not a goal, just if it's something that you know is going to be good for the video, so that goes faster, and yeah, go from there.
You know what, like that, those videos kind of remind me of and make me realize that sometimes I try to be too polished and I try to make sure that everything's like in focus and not shaky and all that. But after, like, especially with all these playoff videos coming out and guys clinching and you see the behind the scenes stuff, like there's a lot of errors in those videos. There's a lot of like out of focus stuff, or they have to rack back in, or it's a little wobbly.
Shafiq catching some strays.
No. I'm not talking about it. I just mean in general, like you feel like, no, but what's working so good about that is you feel like you're there. Like, yes, you could tell it's handheld. You know, like, you know what it's like when a coach is talking for 5 minutes, you're stuck with a hand, FX6 in your hand, and you're like, oh my God. So I like that feeling where I try to be so polished, I try to be so perfect. But you see a video like that where the guys are there and you're just a fly on the wall. It works. And it's simple. Like, yes, it's probably an hour and a half for the edit after, but it doesn't feel like that, you know? And I think that's the point, because we always think like after a game, people want to see goals, they want to see highlights, and that's no, you want to be part of the team. You want to be that fly on the wall. And that's why those imperfect videos work. You know, you could polish it up later for the next round recap or whatever. But in that moment, the post right after that game is like, hey, let's work on speed. Give me the raw emotion from it. And that's what people want after games, because sports isn't just about the highlight. It's about actually, like, you know, relating to those players and being part of that team. Now, next up for you, E, is like, how do you label or sort your files, especially when you're in a crunch? Like, I know you're flagging during the game and stuff like that, but say like you're working for a team and they want you to just transfer all the files to them, and that, what are you doing to label? Are you going through that? Or are you just giving them the best shots, deleting some of the excess stuff? Like, what's your game plan for file management?
During the game, there's none. But if after the game, when I'm dumping everything, there used to be none. But then Caroline, who's the main videographer, she's the one doing all the cinematic recaps and stuff. Like, she asked me to, because there's all my footage, all her footage, some footage from the other team. So it becomes a bit of it's a hard task to try to produce a video in a day. If you have all these clips, untagged clips to go through. So she just asked me to identify like clips, mainly the good ones, like not necessarily everything, but as at least like the ones that have something interesting in them. So, you know, there's basically, you want to follow a format that everybody follows and that everybody understands. So like in this particular case, it was like the date, the team, the period, and then a short description, like, you know, X player did this. So just so that every clip can be identified by someone who didn't film it, and also that you can search, like if you can type in the search bar, you can type goal, and then all the goal clips are going to show up, or you can type save, or you can type, you know, whatever. So if we all follow the same terminology, then you can search by keyword, and it makes it a lot faster. So that's the way to do it. It did add about an hour and a half to my to my post game thing, because I used to just dump everything on frame.io and go to bed. But yeah, it does make sense, especially like in the playoffs like this, where you're trying to do a recap now, because in 2 days that recap will be irrelevant because there'll be another game.
Exactly, and it helps having your footage organized, especially to find stuff. Now, you're labeling that all in the Finder, or where are you labeling that stuff? You're renaming it in the Finder?
I did it in the Finder, but if you're doing like a batch renaming type thing, like Bridge from Adobe is good for that. Like, you can basically like apply a name to like all your files at once. But yeah, because I was going to change the description on each of them anyway, like I was just doing it in the Finder.
So what I do on my cameras, I don't know how you file your stuff on your camera, but like my camera, if I shoot with my Sony A7 IV, it says Sony A7 V, the date, and then the time, and then the file number after. Or if my FX3 says FX3 in that. And that's like a quick little fix in all your Sony cameras. Because I used to not, when I first got them, I didn't really do that, because I had one camera, so I didn't really need to do it. Then I got a second camera, and then all of a sudden I had file conflicts. And I was like, oh, shoot. So then I made sure that I readjusted it and named it that way. But naming in the Finder, it's easy to do that too. You know, you just copy paste your original stuff and then you just change the end name.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not so hard, but it is a lot more work. Yeah, because you're going through every file, but basically you're just assisting in the edit, right? You're making sure that you're only giving your best stuff. It cleans it up because these pro sports teams, you know how big their servers are and how much stuff they get if you just keep dumping cards. So, I mean, hey, you charge them a little bit more, but you go through the footage for them. But it speeds up everybody's workflow at the end, right? But it's too bad this wasn't something you can automate. Like I know we're flagging stuff in that. Now there is a new software that we were talking about offline, which is called, let me just get it, Shotmark. But there's a couple flaws in it that actually you pointed out. So Shotmark, or at least that's what one of the ones we saw, it works with Adobe, it works with Sony. The idea is when you put your shot in, there's like markers in the footage, but you have to sync it to your phone with the time code. It's running time code, but you have to have your phone open all the time. So for sports, it's pretty tough. For A-roll, talking head, if you have an assistant, it's a lot easier. Press conferences, maybe locker room stuff, it's a lot easier to do. But in the actual sporting game, yeah, it's tough. But it seems to be like it's a conscious thing. It's that people are working on these tools where we can kind of mark shots and mark clips a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. So maybe eventually it could be like where you put in the name, you put in all the information, and when you're marking it, you could just go in after and just update the end part, like Mary Phillip pulling goal or a big save or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the future of it, because obviously, like, we are looking for some new automation, some new, like, editors are supposed to be working with AI, not having it edit like Claude says it could do, which doesn't. But having some extra tools like that, they are coming, and they will make our workflow a little bit better, especially right now, because everybody wants everything right away. So do you have any like templates or repeat systems or stuff that you do that kind of helps your workflow? Like me, I make sure that I label all my projects the same way, and when I open up a project, all the folders are already ready, stuff like that. Do you have any repeat systems that you use?
Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously, my folder structure is always the same, so it's easy to find, to know where everything is at. But yeah, it's just a matter of using the same folder structure every time. If there's assets that I use all the time as well, like you can create a project template so that when you start a new project, you just select that template, and then when you open it, all these assets are already there. So whether it's sound effects or in my case, like there's graphics, things like that. So yeah, it's a way to speed it up. But like I said earlier, it's just a matter of, like, if you know what your video is going to be about, if you have an idea of where you want to go with it, and even if you don't, I suggest that you think about it and then figure it out, because having your project already created with your music already edited, and you know the duration, you know the pace you're going for, you know if you're going to use slow motion or not, all these things. And the slow motion is a good example as well of saving time. Like if you're going to do like a quick cinematic thing that's going to be like 20, 30 seconds, if you do it like hyper dramatic with slow motion footage, all you need really is like 4 or 5 good shots. So just figure out, like, every time it happens, like, I need a good like intro shots of the players like coming out, for example, and then you do that, you play that in slow mo, maybe you cut like jump cut from a wide to a close up. After that, what do I need? I need the face off. So you make sure you get the face off or the kickoff or whatever, or the tip off, or the kickoff. You guys get it. But and then, you know, a nice action shot or two, a goal, and that's it. That's your video. You play all that at 20% speed on dramatic music. It's done. You can do all that first part at halftime, and then after the game, you just add like a couple action shots and a goal. Video's done. You know what I mean? So yeah, slow motion can be a good way. But yeah, all that to say that, like, preparation and knowing that this is what you're going to do, and your music is already ready, and you know the shots that you need to make the video complete, goes a long way.
Yeah, and you know what, too, is having that extra pressure. When you go into a situation and you know you have to deliver fast after a game, you're automatically thinking of stuff during the game. You're taking visual notes, because you know that after that game, you don't want to be that guy who's there 3 hours after the game. Like an hour, hour and a half after the game is totally acceptable. Anything past that, it's like, buddy, you took way too long. Like, let's go. Because other people are waiting for you to finish your job so they can finish their job and go home. So that added pressure. And I don't know if you guys out there, your listeners out there are like us, but sometimes when we have a deadline, yeah, we wait till that deadline to get the video done, you know? So if I have 30 days to do a video, yeah, I'll probably do it in 30 days. But when you got an hour and a half after the game, especially when the game is fresh and it's in your mind, it goes a lot faster, but you have to have a game plan. So, you know, if you don't have that game plan, you're wasting time. Is there anything that you don't do anymore that used to waste time either? You're like, you know what, I have a system now, or I use this template instead, or anything that you just say like, oh, listen, I don't do this anymore. It wastes too much time for me.
Not necessarily, but I would say that now audio is a lot easier and therefore faster to deal with. Like, for example, it used to be hard to, level all your audio and make sure that it's not too noisy and all that sort of stuff, where now those denoise effects, like, you use it at, like, let's say like the Premiere Pro denoise, I put it at like 10% or something like that. Takes some of that unnecessary noise out without affecting the real actual like game sounds or voices that I want to keep as natural as possible. Add like a hard, it's called a hard limiter or something like that to basically bring everything up, but not further than like there's a hard stop at like -6 or -3, whatever you want. So like by just using things like that, it just makes your sound ready to go with like applying 2 effects on everything. And where before I would have to like adjust every clip, one at a time and differently and all that stuff, where now all this stuff is done by the computer itself. So it saves me a lot of time. I can just focus on the editing the content basically. And you get kind of a similar thing with the colors, where like if you're in a pinch and you're going to be filming different stuff, maybe you're on auto white balance and you just don't really have to do too much color correction. You just accept the fact that some colors are going to look a little bit different, but at least they're always going to be close to what they should be. And yeah, you just save time like that. Like sometimes, like I'm the first one to bitch on auto and say don't use auto in anything, but when speed is the main priority, sometimes like, it serves a purpose.
So one thing that I stopped wasting time is like, so sometimes these quick, fast turnaround videos, they need like quick lower thirds. They need like a quick little text animation and all that. So I'll do that ahead of time. Like I'll look for some Mogarts or some cool, logo animations, effects that are already built into our system. And then I'll use those for fast edits. But I'll have a couple that I trust that will fit the moment, because editing logos, editing text, animating stuff like that takes a lot of time, I feel. So for me, I'm looking if I have a project that requires that, well, it's a non-negotiable. I already have it loaded up. I already have it ready. So that way, during that rush edit, I am not wasting time animating that logo or animating that lower third or anything like that. I could change the name. I could put whatever name they want, but I already have that animation built or ready, or Mogart, or it's in my effects panel. I'm going with something in there instead of building something from scratch, opening up After Effects and that. It's like, I don't have time for this. I got to make sure I'm ready. And it's something that they ask for more and more. Like, something silly, like even like, we want a timestamp. We want this. Well, I'll make sure I have all that stuff ready to go, because I don't want to waste time on graphics, because I feel like graphics eat up a lot of time, especially on like bigger projects and stuff like that. What does fast enough really mean? Like, you think you're good and you're fast. Now, what for these sports teams? It's like they always want it yesterday. And I don't think people understand the stress you deal with. Like, it's an internal stress that you feel like you want to just give them the footage and that. So how are you dealing with that? And what does fast enough mean to you?
I don't know. To me, basically, it's just whatever the client's deadline is, that's what it is. I don't really, it's not really my responsibility to decide how fast it has to come out. It's usually discussed in advance, at least, so that you know what you're getting into. But yeah, it depends on what the project is, obviously. But for me, like you said earlier, if I have 30 days to do something, I'll probably do it in 30. But if it has to be out today, then that's what it is, and it changes the type of piece that I'll produce. But to be honest, I much prefer have a sleepless night and get everything done in one day than go back and forth with like changes and things like that and edit like for like 2 weeks. So like short deadlines don't bother me that much. I'd rather do that actually.
There is a bonus to a short deadline. There's less revisions or no revision. Where when you have a big project you're working on and, you know, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of changes. But when teams need stuff right after the game, well, it is what it is, right? They have to trust your judgment. They have to trust you. And they, you know, they usually take the edit right away because they want it up as soon as possible. Obviously, they'll give you guidelines. They'll tell you, they'll kind of guide you on what they're looking for. But that is one upside to it. Now, with speed, there is one other thing before we wrap up that I would say is, and you're an example of this. Speed builds trust, right? Like PWHL can count on you as a fill-in guy because you're delivering in that. So, how have you seen that trust being built from, you know, delivering fast projects to delivering high quality projects in a short period of time?
Well, it's just a matter of being reliable. Like if people expectations, the sports is a fast-paced environment, like, you know, for players, but also for staff. Like there's a lot going on in a short period of time, so there's a lot to do, a lot to deliver. So if you show that you can keep up with that and you're not too, you're not stressed, you're not overwhelmed, and you actually get the job done, you're focused, you're relaxed, and you're doing your thing, that definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and people like that about videographers, but about anyone working on game day, really. Even people can at the, you know, food, the you know, making hot dogs or whatever. Like if you're effective, you're not wasting time and you're not overwhelmed by a big line or whatever. Like it's the same. Like they like people who can work under pressure because that's what it is. And as long as you're one of those persons, like they'll always, well, and you do a good job, obviously. They'll ask you back and they'll have you back and you'll become you know, maybe not a permanent, but at least like someone that every time they need the extra hands, like you'll be the first one that they call, because it is very valued in a fast-paced environment like sports.
Yeah, speed helps you retain work. If they could see that you could do the job fast and do it under pressure and repeat that over and over again, you're going to retain that client. They're going to think of you because in any industry, not even just sports, people want their videos, they want to see their stuff as soon as possible. So whether you're doing a corporate or you're doing a hockey game, you know, get those clips out as fast as you can and get that over to your client. Is there anything else you want to add, E, before we wrap up? I mean, you're a very fast editor. What are you relying on the most? Like, is it your shortcuts? Is it your pre-game process? What do you think one of the number one tips is that helps you get through projects fast?
I think it's just to trust your vision. Like just decide like where you want to go and just go with it and just, you know, follow through. So like don't second guess every decision. Don't wonder if the client's gonna like it or not, or am I going in the right way? Like, and if you need that confirmation, that type of confirmation to go through with something, then have these conversations beforehand, so that when you're editing, you just go. So like, yeah, just trust your vision, have an idea of where you want to go with this project, and just go with it all the way in until it's done. Because if you're, you know, hitting that Command Z button a bit too much because you're unsure about and just trying stuff like throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, that's where you're wasting time, really.
Yeah, and one thing that I do to speed it up is I'm going through and I'm dumping everything on timeline, boom, 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 and then I'll do one pass by and clean everything up, and then I'm good to go, you know. But I don't know. For me, speed doesn't just save time in business; it helps. Speed builds trust, and I think that's the most important thing. But that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare. Hopefully, you guys get some tips on how to be faster and, you know, get out your shots as quick as possible, because especially right now, during playoff time and end of season, that people want to see their shots right away. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare. Take care, guys.
See ya.